You know what, Eric?
Mm-hmm.
You've got a friend in me. You've got a friend in me. And you're dying. I'll die too. You've got
I'm
a
just gonna pretend like I
friend
know the
in
chords.
me.
You know what? Never mind.
Hello,
It'd be
everybody.
funny if I actually knew how to do
Yeah. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the podcast where you have a friend in us. No, you don't. We don't even know you. You're probably pretty cool, though. Um, there's been a crazy news story that happened. Did you hear what happened, Eric?
it. Um, I mean, a lot of things have happened, but I'm
Right,
guessing you're
but the
talking about that
the the
Toy Story
terrible
5
the
is
terrible
coming out.
thing that happened.
Oh, the terrible thing. I don't know about the terrible
Parents
thing.
are giving their kids technology.
Oh,
Isn't that
oh no.
terrible? That's terrible. I sound like
Yes,
I'm being sarcastic. It is actually terrible.
it is
It,
actually terrible.
it is. It's,
And that is what we were talking about today, kind of.
yeah. We're talking, of course, about the Toy Story 5 trailer. I don't remember Toy Story 4. Um, I think
I kind of remember Toy Story 4.
yeah, I've seen it one time. I think
Okay.
I know they bring back Bo Peep and like she convinces
Yeah.
Woody, who we learned last time is a toy of Andy. Um, but uh yeah, I think like he left to like try and save toys that were lost or something. Um,
Yeah,
and there was a fork.
something like that.
So
And there was a fork or a spork.
yeah. Um, it is really interesting, just right off the bat, to give my sort of thought on the trailer. Go
Okay.
watch the trailer if you haven't, because that's sort of what we're talking about. Um,
Yeah.
it is really interesting to like see um like a big movie like this sort of acknowledge things that like people have been saying forever. Um, where it's
Hmm.
like technology is bad and ruining relationships and stuff. Um, but
Yeah.
it's which I guess to be fair, we don't necessarily know that that's what's going on in this movie. Um,
Yeah.
because it
It does
could,
seem like it though from the trailer.
yeah. Um, it could easily just be um that like much like how there was sort of a rivalry between Buzz and Woody in Toy Story 1, this could be
Hmm.
something similar. Um
That's
but
true.
it definitely does seem like it has like a um sort of anti-technology, anti-giving your kid an iPad sort of message to it, which I appreciate. Um
Yeah.
so yeah. Um I don't know. Any more thoughts on like that particular thing?
I think I'm very curious what they're going to end up
Mm,
doing with it because it is kind of a fun. I think my original thought when I saw it is that it's kind of a fun concept to kind of go into like a more modern kind of problem with like
mm,
you know parents giving their kids technology basically, um, because like the original Toy Story probably would have come out when like that wasn't really a thing that
right.
people were really concerned about or talking about, and so
Yeah.
it is a fun concept for like a villain that isn't like a regular toy, but instead they're more like technology and kind of a toys versus technology thing. I think that's a cool setup, and I'm very curious to see what they do with it. I don't really think uh, Toy Story 4 really had a villain,
Mm.
but before that, with the other ones, it was always another toy. So I don't know. It's an interesting idea, and I think it could. There's a
Well,
lot of potential for cool things you could do with it.
I mean, in Toy Story 1, it's really Sid that's the
That's
bad guy
true.
more than anyone else. Which I wouldn't even
That's true. Yeah,
necessarily call Sid a bad guy. He is an
yeah,
antagonist though. So, I don't know.
yeah. It. I always forget like what happens in Toy Story 1. Like I kind of like skip it in my mind just because like it's honestly like one of the weirder ones of like the entire trilogy, like in my mind.
Mm.
I remember I used to like dislike that one because it scared me when I was a kid.
It is
But
scary.
the other ones are fine.
It is
Yeah.
scary. Um,
I did
Anytime
I
they
feel like I
show a
rewatched.
human in that movie, it's like, ah,
Uh-huh.
get away.
Yeah. That's what I was gonna say. Is like I remember like rewatching it more recently, like not like super recently, but at
Hmm.
one point, and I was like, man, like the CGI was a lot worse than I remember it being
Yeah,
when I remember watching this before. But it is
yeah.
kind of cool to see like because Toy Story was one of the like first CGI films, and
Hmm.
so it is kind of cool because you can compare like Toy Story 4 or Toy Story 5 now with that like first few movies and just see how it's kind of changed over time. And I think that's kind
Right.
of a cool thing. But
Yeah.
at the same time, I'm kind of like I really wish they would have just stopped with the original trilogy.
Mm.
Um, Mainly because of 4, which I guess this video isn't really about criticizing Toy Story 4, but uh, Toy Story 4, I feel like kind of messes up the third one, um, where at the end of it, it has a nice conclusion in the third one, and also uh, Andy specifically points out Woody to Bonnie at the end of the third one, but in the fourth one, Bonnie has completely forgotten about Woody. And there's a lot of other problems, but I think that's the main one where it's just like, oh, that feels kind of like just not really a follow-up, but kind of feels like it ruins the third one because it's like it makes that special moment kind of more like
Mm.
meaningless almost, where it's like they put a lot of like attention to it. But there's a lot of other things that I don't like about Toy Story 4, but I do have hope that maybe Toy Story 5 might be good.
Yeah. To be honest, like when Toy Story 4 came out, like um it was uh like I wasn't really watching that sort of movie. Um
Yeah.
like so I didn't see it till after it had been out for a long time. Um and
Gotcha.
like I just at this point I literally like don't remember. I vaguely remember there being a plot of like
Hmm.
Bo Peep is in this um sort of like park area. Oh, oops, I can't do that.
Hmm.
To do. Sorry, hold on one second. Um, and I remember like Woody like sort of joined her group in the end. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah. Um, Hold on one second. Oh, oops. Okay. Okay. There we go. Sorry. Um, I just had to set up a timer because I realized I forgot to do that again.
Oh, right.
Um, yeah.
All
So
right.
anyway, um, I don't, I don't remember Toy Story 4. I don't like. I don't. It didn't offend me. I don't think, as far as I can
Hmm.
remember. But also, nothing
Yeah.
about it was like exciting or fun to me. Um,
Yeah.
Toy
I
Story
think that's kind
3,
of how I felt about it when I
yeah.
first saw it as well.
Toy Story 3 is like fun. Um,
Yeah.
And I also like Toy Story 1 because it's it's like a part of history now. Um, and
Yeah.
then I think of like the original sort of trilogy. It's funny saying the original trilogy, talking about something like Toy Story.
Yeah. I thought
Um,
about that earlier.
but in the original trilogy, I think the second one is the weakest of the three. But it's not bad.
That's fair.
It has its fun
Yeah.
moments. Mostly the Buzz Lightyear video game from the opening was fun.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
One of the
no,
best animated movie openings, I think.
right.
One of the most memorable, at least.
I feel like it is interesting to like have like I was saying, it's like it's really interesting to have a movie that's like seems to be sort of acknowledging, if nothing else, like sort of the debate over like do you give your kids smartphones and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
but it's also like it almost seems like, oh, good for you, too late, you know, like uh it, if you're gonna go like a sort of a message of like technology can be bad and like kill creativity, because like the symbolism there makes a lot of
Hmm.
sense, where it's like the toys represent like the creativity of the child, and then the computers
Yeah.
are taking that away, and that's all really cool. But it's like that would have been so helpful for you to say a decade ago, right?
Yeah.
like like when iPads and stuff were coming out, this would have been a useful message. But it's like nowadays, um, it's like everyone knows, but also we've gotten to the point where we're so dependent on technology, no one cares. Um,
Yeah.
so I don't know. It will be interesting to see the route it takes. Um,
Yeah.
it
I
definitely
I
seems
think
like,
that's the main thing
yeah,
that is kind of like it could really like either be they learn to accept technology or like there's a mix of both in there or like it could just be technology's evil, but
yeah.
right now we don't really know.
Yeah, I mean, from the trailer, it definitely seems like the iPad is kind of evil.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Um, but yeah, that is true. I think that they kind of did that with Toy Story 4 with the doll character. I don't remember what her name was, though in the trailer, if I remember right, she was kind of presented to be like a main villain who was like evil, but in reality, like she was just a minor character who was kind of there.
uh,
And I don't honestly remember much of her story. Uh, but
see,
I think
I
it
don't
could be
even
like a kind of
remember the
similar.
doll character. I do
Yeah.
vaguely remember like Woody running around in like a antique shop or like a pawn shop.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
uh, but nonetheless, um, yeah, no, I think it is like, um, I'm often the first guy to be like, yeah, don't give your kid a smartphone, you know, even if you're
Hmm.
a grown up, probably don't be on technology all the time. Um,
Yeah. It's not healthy.
yeah.
And Cademan actually posted a video today as we're recording this
Mhm.
that's about him getting off of the internet. So
It's
that's kind of like,
it's probably like a month ago, a month old video by the time this comes out,
yeah,
but
when they're seeing this. But
yeah.
you can go back and watch it if you want to.
You can go back. Yeah. It was kind of fun. I had fun
It might
making
not
it.
be relevant, but yeah.
It very recording that video felt very like I don't know, record like older videos I used to record. Um
Mm,
where it was, I don't know, it was just because I was doing something sort of new and I was having like a little bit of more fun with it than
yeah,
um
that makes sense.
yeah. Not that the videos I make nowadays aren't fun, but it was experimental. Um
Yeah,
I like to do an
that
experimental
makes sense.
video. Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know. Did you have any other thoughts about the trailer that weren't necessarily related to like this iPad villain or I guess
Um.
I don't know. There was Woody had like a bald spot.
Yeah. The joke like didn't seem particularly funny to me, where it was like,
Yeah.
cause like I feel like that was most of the trailer was like, oh haha, part of the paint is rubbed
Hmm.
off on Woody. Um, so I was like, is that gonna be the entire movie? Please tell me that's not the entire
Yeah.
movie. Or it was, it seemed
I
like they thought it was funnier than like it came across to me, I
I
guess.
kind of got that as well. I mean, I kind of thought it was like a little bit um funny, but like then like they kept going with it and I was
Right.
like, "Oh, like is this it wasn't that funny." Like it wasn't like
Yeah.
but yeah, I do kind of hope that they don't have make that like a main thing in the movie,
Yeah.
but I don't know. It kind of seems like they might.
Well, yeah, it will be interesting to see like how
Yeah.
um how they make the movie because like um it's a Toy Story movie which historically have
Hmm.
had pretty good writing um
Yeah.
but also like just um storytelling in the present day just hasn't held up.
Yeah.
It hasn't. I guess not even held up is the right way to say it, but it just doesn't work. The way people try and tell stories in the modern day just doesn't work. Um,
Yeah.
I think a lot of that is like sort of like the TikTok humor, where like, um,
Hmm.
it's. I watched a great video actually by
Uh-huh.
a man by the name of Trent Horn. Have you heard of Trent Horn?
I don't think so.
Okay, he's a very Catholic guy. Um, but he has a podcast where he does a lot of like apologetics and stuff like that. But he did a
Okay.
very good video that was um it was talking about um like I'll link it below, but a lot of what he was talking about is how
Okay.
like the internet has changed like the way we interact with each other and um stuff like that. And again, he said a bunch of stuff that I've kind of been saying for a little while. Um,
Yeah.
but also from the lens of like someone who grew up before the internet, which was interesting. Um,
Oh, okay. That is
yeah,
interesting.
but it's where like you have you have the internet now and um like everything just becomes like the way you interact in the real world is like a social media post where it's like, oh, look at
Hmm.
me, I have a thing to say, you pay attention to my thing to say. And then
Interesting.
um like no one is really like sincere anymore because
Hmm.
if you're like kind of sincere on the internet, then like you'll likely be made fun of because like the internet is all driven by
Yeah.
memes and it's like everything basically becomes a meme nowadays. Um Anyway, with that
Yeah.
being said, it will be interesting. Will this movie be like that, where it feels like it's just trying to get like all of these memeable moments, like so many movies that we see in the modern day,
Hmm.
which would be very
Yeah.
ironic if like the topic matter is iPads are the bad guy. Um,
Yeah.
it's like there could be a bit of mixed messaging there. Or alternatively, it could be the best written movie in the last few years. Um, so we'll see.
Yeah.
Now,
I'd
yeah,
I'd be excited
yeah,
to see how the writing is and like
hmm
again like what the message ends up being and how
right.
they go with what you know how they do this toys versus technology thing. Um, but yeah, that is interesting. I'll have to find that video because now I'm
Well,
curious.
I think I am sort of optimistic about um, like the future of movies too. Um,
Hmm.
because like we have gotten a couple of like really good um
Yeah,
movies lately, like the
Superman.
Superman, and then we got um the new Knives Out movie, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. Um, and the Dracula movie, or sorry, the Frankenstein movie, that came out on
Yeah.
Netflix, I thought was pretty good. That one wasn't anything too mind blowing, but just the fact that it
Okay.
wasn't terrible, um, like most movies tend
Was
to
good.
kind of be. Um, you know, it it was it was interesting and it was philosophical, and that's kind of what you want from a Frankenstein movie.
Mhm.
So
That makes
it
sense.
worked really well for what it was. Um, Now
Yeah,
there's parts of it that I'm like, man, we didn't need to. We didn't need to do that, but um,
that makes sense.
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, it will be interesting to see. Um, I'll probably
Yeah.
watch it when it comes onto Disney Plus, and um,
Same.
yeah, like I'm not excited enough to
Maybe
go and see
we
it in
could.
theater or something. Um,
Yeah. I mean, I think nowadays it's not very common that people go to see movies in theaters,
I think it
but
depends where you live. Um,
probably
I think bigger cities people are more into that. But
that definitely could be the case.
yeah,
Once it comes out on streaming and we both watch it, we could do like an accidental podcast of it. Which we
okay,
have done for Superman and the Knives Out movie. So if you're
mm,
interested in seeing us talk about those movies, they're
yeah.
on the Accidental podcast where we talk about random stuff.
Have I published the Knives Out one yet? I think I did.
I don't know. We'll have to check
I
after
don't
this.
know. I
So it's
Yeah, I don't know where that is if I didn't. Oh, oops, I can't do that because I'm recording. Anyway, um, yeah. So
yeah.
I guess we'll
Um
see. But
yeah. I don't know. I'm trying to think if there's any other like thoughts I had after watching the trailer.
hmm,
Um I think I'm also kind of optimistic that it could be really good. Um I mean, it's a Toy Story movie. I it would be interesting to see if it has some like cultural significance um of some sort, like kind of like if because a lot of people are definitely going to watch it since it's Toy Story.
hmm,
And so I kind of wonder if it will have some impact on the whole like giving kids technology kind of thing or
right.
you know, I kind of feel like it's more likely not to have that big of an impact, but it would be really interesting if it did have
Hmm.
some level of like cultural shift in people's thinking. And I
Well,
guess it really comes down to like
I think a lot of these
how they do it.
movies, a lot of these movies are actually, um, like, I don't think a lot of movies change people's minds. I think movies try
Yeah.
to present the views that people have. Um, and I think, like, the Knives Out
Yeah.
movie, which was largely like, pro Christianity or pro religion at the very least. Um,
Yeah.
like that movie, uh like even just like 2020, I don't think would have been made. Um right. I
Yeah,
don't think
I
you'd
think
get a
that's
movie
definitely
like that.
a good point.
Um
I think like I can see that with like maybe like in Hollywood,
mhm,
or like, you know, in like mainstream movies, but I do think that there are a lot of like independent like films or projects in general that kind of tend to be a little bit more like, what if you rethink this?
mhm,
Kind of, and a little bit more like, I guess I want to say like rebellious or like
mm,
I'm trying to think of the word. I can't think of any like specific movies, but I know that like recently it seems like there has been more movies that seem to be a little bit more like pushy about
yeah.
like different ideas and stuff rather than just like everyone believes this now
Mhm,
kind of thing, or like restating other people what people already believe. um but I don't know, it is interesting, and I kind of wish that movies would be a little bit more risky
yeah.
with
Well,
uh
I think that's kind of what
yeah,
I was saying, where I was like, oh yeah, it would have been interesting to have the iPad as your villain, like, you know, 10,
10
5
years
years
ago.
ago. Yeah. But like now it's like it's more safe and easy to make a
Yeah,
story like that. So, yeah.
yeah, that is true. I think there is kind of just like people just don't want to like push the boundaries of like things. I don't know, I might still do this actually, since I'm planning on posting more videos uh throughout this next month. But at one point I was thinking about doing a tangent study on Elio, which is the new Pixar movie about the kid who goes to space.
I didn't even know that existed.
A lot of people don't know it existed. The marketing for it was horrible.
Mm.
And there's a whole controversy about it because the marketing was horrible, and then after it came out, like Pixar like got angry and blamed the fans for like not watching it even though their marketing was bad. But there's a lot of stuff with that movie that was really it's a very controversial movie, but that's part of the reason I was like wanting to talk about it. It was just kind of like, aside from the controversy, but more on like what the movie did and why I think it could have been better if it tried to be a little bit less safe
Mm. Is
than
it
it
good?
was. Um, it's pretty good.
Okay.
It's not like next level or like amazing or anything. I thought it was a good movie. I enjoyed it. You know, it it has a lot of criticism for like the animation style, looking
Mm.
like too like much like other Pixar movies recently, which I don't really care about that. Um,
Hmm. I
I
mean,
think that's
Pixar
kind of a
has like a well-defined style that
yeah,
it's had for a long time. So that seems like a
yeah.
weird
It
complaint.
it
Anyway,
is interesting, but yeah.
we're out of time now. So,
Oh, okay.
uh, with all that being said, thank you so much for listening to us talk about a children's movie that has now seen probably 3 generations of children grow out of. Think about that.
Yeah,
Isn't that funny? Um,
that's wild. It's like the
yeah.
same thing with Star Wars. Like it literally has another original trilogy now, and who knows? Maybe they'll start making shows and stuff, and eventually people will hate
Oh,
it.
that would
Anyways.
be wild. Like an Army Men Toy Story spin-off show or something. Um,
Man,
yeah.
I
That
really hope they don't like over convolute it like they did with Star Wars, because like I love Toy Story.
all right.
Anyways,
Yeah, thank you for watching. come again next time where we have little conversations or play fun games or, we do a lot of things. It's probably not good for our branding. We probably should just pick one thing. Um, anyway, a
Yeah,
medium A pluses to anyone who likes this video, shares with any of your 5 friends, or um, leaves a comment that complimenting my mustache. Don't insult my mustache. Don't you do it.
yeah.
Bye bye.